What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours or so. There has been quite a bit of news. Firstly, of course, the winter transfer market is going to be opening in just over a month's time, and the club do have two priorities. Number one, a pivot. The club have narrowed down their two pivot options to Martin Zubimendi and also Ruben Neves, but there is a debate happening internally as some people want Zubimendi and someone wants Ruben Neves, and I will give you guys the details on that situation. But of course, the club alongside a pivot also want to sign a right back, and there is a preliminary list being built at Barcelona, and the two main names that we have on that list at the moment is Arnau, Martinez, nothing new there, but also Pedro, Porro, the wing back for Sporting. We'll talk about that. Also, some contract renewal updates on Alejandro, Balde, and Ousmane Dembele, the two main priorities for Barcelona for the renewals from now until the season ends. And finally, some big news on the suspension of Robert Lewandowski. As we all know, before the World Cup, he got a red card in the match against Osasuna, and now his ban has been released and confirmed, and we now know the exact length that Lewandowski will be banned for, and it is quite shocking. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 300 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past 48 hours. And the first players that we have been linked with are right backs. As we all know, the upcoming two transfer windows, one of Barcelona's priorities for sure, 100%, is to sign a new right back, and we do have some new names coming up as potential options. First up, Juan Martí from Renewal, who we all know is very reliable. He came out saying that Pedro, Porro, and Arnau Martinez are in the noble area of Barcelona's agenda. The club monitors both but have not carried out any offenses yet. The club's financial problems place them at the top of their list. Trent, Arnold, and Recce, and the company are unaffordable for the club at the moment. Barcelona could take advantage of Trincão's situation, who is currently out on loan, with a purchase option of 10 million euros to reduce the transfer fee for Pedro Porro. Currently, Pedro Porro is valued at 25 million euros according to the transfer market. Similarly, Arnau Martinez, a 19-year-old Catalan who has already gone through Barcelona's youth football, has a release clause of around 20 million euros. Facing January, the will of both Girona and the player is to remain united until the end of the season. So Juan Martí saying, look, the club do want a Trent or Reece James or the top right backs available, but we can't afford them. These two are like the best out of the affordable category that we have. Now, Arnau Martinez, or talked about a lot. Pedro Porro is an interesting one. Of course, he's more so of a wing back for Sporting, but of course for Barcelona, I think he can do a role of a right back. He's been linked with Real Madrid, Manchester City, Juventus as well. A very good option in my opinion. Now, with Arnau Martinez, there are more stronger reports. Gerard Romero came out saying that Barcelona is looking for a young right back for the future and perhaps signing them for the Barcelona B team. That way it won't affect FFP, financial fair play, in La Liga. Now, Arnau Martinez is definitely a player who can be registered for Barcelona B, and he would be okay with it, not more so Pedro Porro, who is a bigger, well-known player at the moment. I did not know our financial situation is still this bad. The fact that PK retired, and it's still the fact that we cannot afford a good player to even register him for this. So again, it's not about affordability really, it's more so about registering them in La Liga. That is a big concern for me. I think we'll come on to quotes about Joan Laporta about what we can do in the winter market in a few minutes. But on the right back, I would take either of them. I would be content with either. If I could pick one, I don't know. I think both have their strengths. You have, Pedro Porro, you could say as the right back is better, more established, played in the Champions League, played against bigger teams. But then you have Arnau Martinez, who knows the club through and through, can also play multiple positions as well. But or do we already have enough of those kind of players? I would go for Pedro Porro, because again, I would say we need the established player now in this position. For so many years, it's been freaking, Emerson, Dani Alves, Roberto, Bellerin, Alex Vidal, Nelson Semedo. It's all just crap. I think it's time now that Barcelona actually properly invest in a good quality right back. And from the get-go, of course, all those, Semedo had potential, Vidal potential, all that sort of stuff. And I think Pedro Porro could fill that, but although he's not the cream of the crop, so to speak. So we'll wait and see, but again, no doubt Barcelona are looking for a new right back and have narrowed down the list to at least 2 players on that list, being Arnau, Martinez and Pedro Porro. But a defensive reinforcement that will not be happening in the winter transfer market in January is the signing of a center back. Of course, Piqué has retired. The club were thinking about bringing in a possible replacement, but with us having 4 center backs, you have Chad Riyad, you also have Marcos Alonso who can play there as well. The club, and also maybe Frankie de Jong, worst case scenario, the club feel that they can get away with not signing a center back in the January transfer market. Joan Laporta came out saying that signing a central defender in January is very difficult, almost impossible. If nothing changes, Inigo Martinez will arrive in the summer as his contract expires in June 30th. So again, more reports, confidence of Barcelona signing Inigo Martinez as a free agent. I think this will be confirmed around March time once the winter market is, dead in the water. You can probably get that verbal agreement official. That way he commits, and he can't officially sign the contract, of course, until June 30th, but he can commit and say, I'm not going to go change anything. Then we'll get the here we go and all that sort of stuff. So Inigo Martinez is very close to joining Barcelona on a free transfer in June, but he'll not be joining in January for a transfer fee. Now, along with a right back, another priority for Barcelona in the upcoming 2 transfer windows, the winter and the summer, is to sign a defensive, i.e. pivot, midfielder. And apparently inside the club, in the boardroom, there is a debate on who to sign. Joan Laporta came out saying that Xavi Hernandez, the manager, and Mateu Alemany, the football director, prefer to sign Martin Zubimendi as a defensive midfielder. But Joan Laporta, the president, prefers Ruben Neves, who was offered to him by Jorge Mendes. For Xavi, if Ruben Neves is signed, he would like to keep Busquets. That for me just tells me, it confirms to me that Xavi does not see Ruben Neves as a pivot. To be honest, neither do I. I think he is, and I think in a Barcelona system as well, he's better as a box-to-box, a right interior, up and down the pitch, which he does kind of do for Wolves, but again, they play a 3 at the back, so he has a license to go forward. They're both going to be around the same price. You're looking at, for Ruben Neves, 1 year left of his deal, 40, 50. For Zubimendi, you're looking at 40, 50, with his release clause being at 60 million euros. So I prefer Zubimendi. I think he's the more like-for-like profile with Busquets. But Joan Laporta, this is the thing. Joan Laporta has always said, I never get involved in signings. I will sign whoever the manager wants if we can reach an agreement. So him pushing for Ruben Neves for me is a bit weird. I feel like he wants to keep that relationship really strong, of course, with Jorge Mendes. Maybe he gets a superstar in the future, and we want to be in first in line for that, which I kind of understand. But I think Zubimendi just fits the profile and the portfolio just way more better. It's not even close, to be honest. I think Ruben Neves, if we do end up signing him, just to get on the good side of Jorge Mendes. So we'll wait and see. Again, they're both going to be around the same price, but who would you sign? Let me know in the comments below. For me, again, it's Zubimendi, and of course, Xavi and Mateu Alemany are in favor of my decision. But do you prefer Joan Laporta? And what do you think will happen as well? This will be a very interesting race, and also very big as well. This will be the first time that Barcelona signed a, well-profiled pivot in a long time. Of course, we signed, Alex Song in the past and all these other crap. We had Sergi Sambler for a bit, but this will be the first DM that we've signed in a long time, and it has to be the right decision. Now, position for Barcelona at the moment that isn't the priority, but it could be later on in the summer transfer window, maybe even the winter, is, and of course on the situation of Memphis Depay as well, is to sign a new attacker. Now, we have been linked quite a bit with Youssoufa Moukoko, one of the up-and-coming German strikers, doing very well for Borussia Dortmund, but apparently him coming to Barcelona is very difficult. Joan Laporta came out saying that I'm told by people well connected to Moukoko that Bayern Munich are very much in the hunt to sign the player. Of course, Bayern Munich, they haven't signed a striker since Lewandowski left. They currently have only Choupo-Moting, but Sane, Gnabry, and all the other ones, Sadio Mane, Leroy Sané, and Gnabry can all play there. So they don't really have a natural striker to compete with Choupo-Moting. I do want Moukoko. I think as a free agent as well, just makes his signing way better, way more attractive, way less risk-free as well. But with the competition, it's going to be difficult. We're hearing that Manchester United as well are also very keen on the player. So you can expect him to have some pretty high wages, especially for an 18-year-old as well, if we do end up signing him to get away from those competitions. But we'll wait and see. It's still too early. I think after the World Cup, we'll hear a lot of news about free agents, whether it's N'Golo Kante, Jorginho, Tielemans, Moukoko as well. I think right now with the World Cup, coming in at the moment. It is a bit too early to call, but the club are in the race. They are interested in Youssoufa Moukoko, but there will be some fierce competition for his signature. But the biggest transfer news over the past 48 hours has been the fact that Barcelona, at the current moment, cannot sign anyone in January. This is coming in from the president himself, Joan Laporta. He came out saying that according to La Liga's financial fair play rule, I just want to just fucking punch that rule in the face, we cannot sign players in January. We are trying our best to persuade La Liga to be more flexible. I mean, we got rid of 300,000 euros off the wage bill with PK retiring, and yet we still don't have any FFP margin to play with. What? God, Javier Tebas is sinking this league to the ground beyond belief. You have Premier League, City, Bundesliga, League players signing players left, right, and center. No rules, like no tomorrow. But in La Liga, it is as strict as you can get. Look at Atletico Madrid, look at Betis, even Real Madrid. No one is signing any players, and they're just making it so difficult to apparently keep the league fair. I think this will signal the end for Memphis Depay in January. I think the club will try and get rid of him simply because they want to strengthen in other positions, whether it's a pivot, a right back, maybe even a striker like Moukoko to come in, or I don't know. But at the current stage, in our current moment, we can't sign anyone. That doesn't mean we can't sign anyone in the sense that, we can go, for example, hypothetically, sign Moukoko from Dortmund for 20 million. He can come and join the club, but we can't register him. That's going to be the big problem. So the club do have money, of course. We did have some money left from the economic levers from last summer. We, of course, sold Alba, so there's some money there as well. Apparently, Barcelona have around 40 million to spend. The question now is registration, FFP. We're going to have this whole entire circle again. I really thought we left the FFP crap behind us, but it's come back to bite us right in the arse. So we'll wait and see. The club are trying to negotiate with La Liga to make some wiggle room, but it will probably result in players leaving, whether it's Memphis Depay or Alex Collado coming back from loan, then selling him, whatever the case may be. But at the current stage of the club, we cannot register any new signings. Let's now discuss the player who has been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 48 hours. Just one again, the only player who the club are currently considering selling in the January transfer market is Memphis Depay. Arnau came out saying that Barcelona is hoping Memphis will do well at the World Cup so that his value will rise and they can sell him. I think if Memphis gets 10 goals and 10 assists, it won't change the fact that we have an agreement with him to terminate his contract now. So if a club, let's say Bayern Munich, come in from in January, Memphis, let's talk, we've reached an agreement, he'll go to Barcelona and say, look, terminate my contract, we already reached an agreement, bada bing, bada boom. The club can say, you had a good World Cup, we want a transfer fee. The Memphis will go, I'm going to go on strike. It's too much. I think let's see how he does at the World Cup first, and then we can debate it. But again, the only name on the exit block for Barcelona in January is Memphis Depay. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. Firstly, on the contract renewal of Alejandro Balde, with the World Cup, of course, being active right now, his renewal is the priority as he's not involved for now. Arnau came out saying that Barcelona are optimistic about Alejandro Balde's renewal at the club. They see him as a left back for the present and for the next 10 to 12 years. The forecast is that he will renew his contract until 2027, which I believe is a 4-year extension. Here's the kicker. Jose Gaya just got injured in training for the Spanish national team. Apparently he'll be out of the World Cup. Next in line to be called up is Alejandro Balde. So in the end, Balde could end up going to the World Cup. We'll wait and see on that. Still not confirmed quite yet. They could maybe lose Enrique, take someone experienced. I don't know off the top of my head, but you never know in that sense. But I think if he does not go to World Cup Balde, we should get this done by the new year. But if he does go, it will make negotiations, of course, a tiny bit slower. But I think, again, he's definitely a priority. He's left back for the now, for the present, for the future, all that stuff. And renewing him is very, very important. He should be in the same category as, Ansu, Pedro, Xavi, Araujo. So we'll see. But again, the club is very, very confident about his continuation. The final contract renewal update is on the contract renewal of Ousmane Dembele. Now, this is coming in from Fabrizio Romano. He's come out saying that Barcelona are already planning to hold renewal talks with Dembele as his current contract ends in 2024. So according to Romano, the club are making those first movements in Dembele's renewal. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about Dembele. What his release cost will be in the summer will be 100 million, 50 million, 100 million, but he gets 50 and the club get 50. I'm already having a headache. I think the club, what they're going to do is wait for France to get out of the World Cup, or maybe they'll start talking with Moukoko now. I have no idea, but I'm hoping by the end of January, we'll have an idea what's happening with Dembele. Whether we're talking, it's looking good, we're talking, it's looking bad, they're still asking for a lot of money, we're going to let him go, whatever the case may be. I think the club would rather sell Dembele than have someone else, another club, activate his release clause, based on what we're hearing right now in the media. But I think Alejandro, Balde and also Ousmane Dembele are the two renewals the club really want to do. You have, of course, until the end of the season theoretically, but I think for Balde, New Year is important. Then for Dembele, maybe by February, March, you can have like some sort of preliminary agreement. So wait and see with them boosts. But again, the club are making those first movements about discussing his renewals with his agent. Let's now discuss some injury updates surrounding Barcelona over the past 48 hours. The only update we have is on the injury of Ronald Araujo. Of course, right now he's with the Uruguay national team preparing for the World Cup. But on paper, he's still injured. Now, Direct Goal came out saying that Barcelona and the Uruguay Football Federation have agreed that Araujo will not play in the World Cup group stages. He'd only play the knockouts if Uruguay qualify. Then Roger Tador from Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Araujo right now is in the final stage of his recovery. The Uruguayan wants to participate in the World Cup, but Barcelona does not want him to play in the group stages to avoid a relapse in his injury. Now, Uruguay have 3 games, of course: Portugal, Ghana, South Korea. I have no idea what the orders are, but the rumors are that Araujo could play in the final game of the group stages. I don't know. I think it's against South Korea, maybe, or maybe Ghana. I don't know. But the last game, whoever it's against, Araujo could play in that game. But best case scenario, we're looking at the knockout stages, which of course the Uruguay National Football Federation and Barcelona already agreed upon. Again, there is a doctor from Barcelona with Araujo watching him every step of the way. I think if there's a chance of a relapse, he won't play, but there still is a very good chance that Araujo will participate in the World Cup for Uruguay. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past 48 hours, and you could say this is the biggest story around the club in the past few days, and that is Lewandowski has been handed a 3-game suspension for his red card against Osasuna in the final match of the season, of course, before the World Cup. It's coming in from Cope. They came out saying that Lewandowski has been handed a 3-game suspension, 1-game suspension for the red card, and 2 games for his gesture to the referee. The 3 La Liga matches Lewandowski will miss now are against Espanyol, Atletico Madrid, and Getafe, not Real Betis, postponed due to the Super Cup. Now, Lewandowski came out when he got his golden boot in the gala. He said that, oh, my gesture was towards Xavi. We have some sort of thing that they're talking about, whatever. It's not towards the referee, it's towards Xavi. But yet, a 3-game suspension. This league is so goddamn corrupt. They're doing everything in their power to not let Barcelona win this league. How it's... So I tweeted, I think like 2 days ago, oh, random thought, we have no news about Lewandowski's red card, so I'm thinking it's definitely going to be a 1-game suspension. This comes out a day later, I'm like, fucking, I'm like, what? 3 games? For what? The first yellow wasn't even a yellow. Second one was a yellow. And this gesture was not towards the referee. It was towards Xavi. What is this? Look, the club are going to appeal it. It's going to get rejected, okay? Let's be honest. We appealed red cards for the past 20 years. I've not seen one be rescinded, okay? The club have announced officially they will appeal it. Ain't nothing has happened from that. And also, Piqué was suspended 4 matches for what he said to Gil Mentana at halftime. Piqué's retired. Wake up and smell the coffee. So apparently Piqué returns from retirement. He can't play 4 games in La Liga. Like, the refereeing in this league is a joke. It is absolutely corrupt. Like, Pepe got a red. Remember, if you guys remember this, Pepe, he got a red card a long time ago because he kicked a player when he was on the floor, kept on kicking him and kicking him. You remember the clip? I think for that he was suspended for 10 games, and Lewandowski gets 3 games for this. I think Ronaldo got suspended for pushing the referee in the Super Cup, the Clásico. He got suspended for 5 games, and this for 3. I mean, we'll see what happens. Make your prayers, because if we don't have Lewandowski for Atletico Madrid, we might be finished, you know. I think with Espanyol, we can get away with it, but And we don't know what's going to happen during the World Cup. Who knows? Maybe players get injured and stuff. So get ready. We'll wait and see. The club, again, are going to appeal it, but 99%. It'll get rejected their appeal again. So we'll wait and see with Lewandowski, but as of this current moment, he will be suspended for 3 matches for Barcelona after the World Cup. Now, on the topic of the World Cup, Barcelona as a club will be paid compensation for each player that is playing in the World Cup from FIFA. Juan Martin from Renewal came out saying that during the World Cup, if a player is eliminated in the group stages, his club would be owed around 180k, reaching the round 16 would be awarded 220k, and quarterfinals 280, and then the final 370k. So the club will be getting paid by FIFA to use their players in the World Cup. This is nothing new, and apparently if we get a Spain versus Netherlands final, the club will be paid around 3.3 million, which of course is fantastic, but that final, I think, is very, 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 very unlikely to happen. But you know what? If it happens, I'll remember this. I'll be like, oh, that's 3.3 million euros for Barcelona in the bank. Most likely we'll probably get $1 million or $2 million, but better than nothing. Now, another avenue where Barcelona could be making some money in the next few months is in the form of a friendly. As I told you guys in the last video, Barcelona currently are in talks with Arsenal to schedule a preseason 2.0 friendly with Arsenal at the Emirates before we start the campaign for La Liga again, I think on December 31st against Espanyol. And we're also now in talks with Juventus. Sport came out saying that Barcelona and Juventus are thinking of playing a friendly match in December. Now, I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if we're going to play Arsenal and Juventus or Arsenal or Juventus one game. Other clubs are playing 2 games. I know United are playing Betis and Cadiz. I remember other clubs playing some games as well. I think we will play 2. I think Arsenal and Juventus are both capable capable opponents. So we'll wait to see how that goes. And again, it'll bring some match revenue as well for the club, which is good. And also needed friendly for those players who get eliminated from the World Cup early or have not gone to the World Cup at all. Now, with Barcelona earning some revenue from different streams, of course, for the World Cup compensation, playing friendlies, we are set to lose around 100 million euros next year. Fernando Porro from Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona will incur 100 million euros in losses in the 23-24 season by playing at the Mojica Stadium, the Olympic Stadium, of course, in Catalan. To cover the club's plan is to make a sporting village there, like a Conde de Godó tennis trophy. Many sponsors will set up their stalls. There's also will be a recreation center. So the club will know, based on ticket sales and merchandise and all that stuff they make on match day, in total next season we'll lose around 100 million euros for leaving the Camp Nou for 1 year, but the club do have a good contingency plan in place to make up that money that they will end up losing. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing I want to firstly, of course, is on that pivot signing. Who would you go for, Ruben Neves or Martin Zubimendi? Secondly, at right back as well, who would you go with, Pedro, Porro, Arnau, Martinez, maybe even someone else? Thirdly, your thoughts on that freaking red card suspension game for Lewandowski, 3 games, absolutely ridiculous. And lastly, your thoughts on the contract renewal of Alejandro, Balde, and Ousmane Dembele. You think the club will finish early this time, or can we see this going on into the latter stages of the season? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.
Yeah.